really appreciate you guys being here. Tanya and I are really excited to do this. We've done this before. We got a really good turnout. People really appreciated it. Obviously, there's been a lot of turn and burn on members that were within the organization, so we wanted to kind of do it again. And plus, a lot of things have changed with Twitter and the way algorithms work and things like that. So yeah.
I was going to say, like you said, we've had a lot of turnaround with members, and we did this before, and we want to do another one because obviously a lot of what we do is, yes, that is an old picture of me. A lot of what we do as content creators is find ways to market ourselves. And to do this, we utilize platforms such as Twitter and Instagram to essentially bring in those viewers. And so obviously a lot of what we do is try and get us into the right eyes to have viewers. And so obviously you can see here on Zim's account and my account, we both had over 1 million impressions for that 28-day period, which is absolutely awesome for an individual, you know? So we're going to kind of go through and give you some tips and tricks and advice for you to also grow your social media.
All right. So first things first, what you're looking at right now are Twitter analytics. Anybody can access their own Twitter analytics. I think it's like, what is it, analytics.twitter.com or something?
Yes.
Or if you can go right to your Twitter here. Click this, click your little tag there, and then click analytics right there. And then it'll take you to all that. And it'll show you your tweets, your tweet impressions, profile visits, mentions, etc., etc. With that being said, we're going to talk about 3 main things that you're going to be looking at. It's going to be impressions, it's going to be engagements, and then it's going to be engagement rates. Your impressions are going to be the number of times the tweet is seen. That means it doesn't have to necessarily be interacted with, nobody has to do anything with it. It just has to show up on their timeline. And obviously, the more that this happens, the more impression you get. The more people that interact with the tweet, though, the more people's timeline it's going to appear on. Engagements, the total number of times the user has interacted with the tweet. That means whether they use a hashtag in the tweet, whether they use links, whether they click your avatar, whether they retweet something, whether they reply to something, whether they follow something or follow you, whether they like your post. That all counts as engagements. And then finally, the big number that you really want to be looking at is your engagement rate. And that's going to be the total number of your engagements divided by the total number of impressions. And it's going to give you a percentage. And that percentage is essentially how often your tweets are seen and interacted with, as opposed to seen and left on read. All right, so now we know where to find our stats and how do we increase them? So my basic advice personally, be interactive and be consistent. The Twitter game's brutal. If you're not constantly interacting with people get tired of you. They don't want to. They can always go to someone else and talk to them. Someone else can always be more interesting than you. They can always go to other content. Maybe it's funnier. Maybe it just has to be present. If you're not there, then
yeah. So on the next page, we have a whole list of things we're going to go through right now that will help you to increase these engagements. And obviously, you want to increase engagements to hopefully lead to follows on your social medias and organic growth for your Twitch. But the hard part is finding that secret recipe to have successful tweets that people are drawn to and want to interact with. So some things you can do is use emojis, do Twitter polls, hashtags, use videos and GIFs, power and call to action words, CTA words, ask questions, be consistent, ask for retweets, use links, and engage other users' content.
Yes, literally ask for retweets.
Obviously, don't abuse it.
Yeah, like don't do it for like something stupid, but there's literally a percentage that like if you're, say you're going live or something and you literally just ask for retweets, people are more likely to retweet it if you just ask for retweets. It's very simple. It's very, very simple.
So if you want to click over to the next slide, the first thing we'll talk about is to emojify your offerings. We use this quote, think of emojis as the ultimate elevator pitch for your business. You have 1 or 2 symbols to let people know exactly what value you're bringing them with every tweet. So emojis are obviously a fun way to increase engagement. You can use emojis to show a little more emotion behind your tweets. and to really get people to almost feel a certain way about what you wrote, because it is hard to get across a feeling with just words sometimes. After that, showing your appreciation. This approach is somewhat more complex, won't be applicable to all brands or even all interactions. Twitter suggests that brands can use emoji to better connect with customers by attaching an image to your reply messages, but some people may find it immature or unprofessional to include emoji in a branded tweet. So just know your audience when you do this. If you're writing a serious tweet, you're not going to put a silly emoji at the end of it or a flame emoji or anything like that. You would probably want to keep it sort of down to business, you know? I will say that you should really only be using about 1 to 2 emojis for maximum increase in engagement, because otherwise it does look very immature.
Immature in the way that the Twitter algorithm work, it also does have the chance of being what's known as shadow blocked. And if something looks like it's too spammy, and we'll go more into details on this later too, but if it's too spammy, if it looks like an ad, if it looks like something that's just going to be not conducive to Twitter's timeline, i.e. when you go live and you put your Twitch link there 3 times, your post's probably being seen by 80% less than any other post. So you want to keep that kind of stuff in mind, because Twitter, it doesn't tell anybody, but it happens.
Twitter does this thing that it's suspected that tweets with more than 2 clickables in any tweet suffer hugely. So clickables include links, hashtags, tagging other users, anything that like changes the color of that word so you can click on it. And you just need to be careful, because if you tag a whole bunch of users in your tweets, it comes off as spam. If you tag a game company and your friend that you're playing with and then use a hashtag and also put your Twitch link, that's 4 clickables. So you really need to be careful, because it's very detrimental if you're putting too many of these items in there. Also, sort of on that note, like tagging retweet services and bots, I know it gets you retweets, I get it, but at the same point, it's not leading you to any worthwhile engagement, because no one's realistically searching through the tweets of a bot to find someone to watch. So if you tag 10 friends with a photo, is that the same? So Ryan, that's a really good question. I actually talked with Cinder Slay's Christy Anderson, who does a lot of social media research. It's her full-time job. And she is currently not 100% sure, but she believes that it is not the same and that it does not count as a clickable.
I don't know. I don't think it does.
Right.
You're talking about like where you have the option to tag up to 10 people within the picture?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, we don't believe so. So that's a safer bet.
Us personally, with the EM page, we haven't seen that affect us the same way that we have with others.
So sort of like what I was saying originally, you can use emojis to really emphasize parts of your tweets. So you use a finger to point at your Twitch link. The eye automatically moves to that Twitch link. Things like that are a great way to kind of pull whoever's viewing your item to what you want them to see primarily. We are drawn towards these images as people. So they're just a really easy way, if you use 1 or 2 of them, to curate what people are looking to in your tweets. Realistically, you need to have a healthy mixture of everything. You want to have some tweets that are just words, some that have GIFs, some that have video, some that have photos, some that have polls. You don't want to overuse any one thing, because then someone coming to your Twitter profile, it's all going to look
the same.
Yeah, it's all going to look the same, essentially. Like, yes, you'll have a whole bunch of different photos up there, but every post is a post with a photo, and it looks all the same. So like I said, like you tag the makers of a game and the person you're playing with, and you put your Twitch link right there, that's 3 clickables, and you're already losing some of your engagement. So for people who tweet a lot, I would suggest you don't have any need to delete your old tweets when you go live. But for someone who legitimately uses Twitter only for go live tweets, it looks horrible if all of your tweets say almost the exact same thing and just have a link to your Twitch or your Mixer.
Do you recommend Bitly link shortening for stream links and videos? So I do recommend Bitly, but not for the reason that you would think. I recommend Bitly because me personally, I love to track my stuff. So I'd love to see how many times someone's clicking on. I use Bitly for all of our stuff. Like, so I track how many people have clicked our kanji hoodie link. I track how many people go to our reply link. I track how many people go to our Twitch and things like that. So that's why I prefer Bitly links. I don't think it has anything to do whether you shorten it or don't shorten it for your stream link.
What's the balance between tweets without clickables versus one with? Which one is favored by the algorithm? As long as you do not use more than 2 clickables, the algorithm is pretty much the same. If you tag certain things, that is when you will see an increase based on what you put into the tweet. Does that make sense, First Silhouette?
Correct. There's not a surefire percentage. I know you guys are looking for that, and there's not a surefire percentage that you will be shadow blocked for having these for having more than 2 clickables. It's very random how Twitter does this. This is just to kind of help you guys have less of a chance for your post to be blocked. And also, if you have tons of followers, then your stuff's going to be seen by your followers anyway. You're still going to get a lot of interaction. So there's a lot of different balancing. You have to know your audience and who you talk to. Someone with 200 followers doing this, their tweet's probably not going to be seen by anybody, as opposed to like someone with 10,000 followers and they do the 4 clickables. They're still probably going to get maybe 20, 30, 40 likes, depending on what text they use, whether they use their call to action words, whether they use emojis and all that good stuff. So I don't like the link in the bio thing. Me personally, if I see someone's thing, I'm not going to go to their bio. One of 2 reasons. Number one, like, to me, that just says it's lazy. I don't want to go, and this is as a consumer. Like, if you want to go to someone's stream, you want to click it and go to their stream. You don't want to click to go back to their profile, then click the link. It's just an extra step, and you're giving them another chance to not go to your stream. You want to make it as streamlined and as perfect as straight fire as you can. Yeah, I agree. Link in bio does come off a bit like I don't really care. I'm not a fan of it personally.
As some of you know, I've been trying to like up my Instagram game. And Instagram, unless you're over 10,000 followers, you can't do like a swipe up link, and they don't link anything anymore. And I don't believe I've seen much turnaround from Instagram to other sources at the moment, because people have to click on the picture, look at the picture, go to your bio, click on the link there. It's so many steps, and unfortunately, like, as humans, we want that immediate gratification.
Absolutely. You have to think of yourself as a salesperson, and you're selling your stream. You are
legitimately a business.
You're selling the idea of your stream to others. So you want to make that as quick, as smooth, and as easy as possible for them. Because realistically, people have the attention span of a gnat, especially on Twitter. When you just scroll, especially on your phone, you just scroll down and scroll. Like, why are they going to take an extra step to go to that profile when they're just like, oh, I'll just scroll down until I find another stream that I want to watch? And that's just generally speaking. Obviously, there's always outliers, and there's always different things. And again, it goes back to knowing who your audience is, knowing what they do and how they behave with your tweets. It's a playful way to show your emotion and how you feel about a particular tweet or situation or anything like that. Next time, we're going to move on to Twitter polls. What this does is going to generate follower insight. Those of you guys who don't know what a Twitter poll is, you can basically set up a poll where you give your Twitter users and followers a chance to vote on a particular question that you have. Not only are you going to get that vote, you get that data to see how many people are voting. You also get the chance that they're going to either retweet or like it if it's an interesting topic, it's something that they want on their timeline, as well as replies. Me personally, when I do a poll, I like to have the last one as reply for other. That way you kind of prompt them to give you a little bit more. Once they reply on that tweet is actually going to show up on their timeline as a reply to. And in turn, their followers and their following is going to see that. So you want to engage your followers' interest. Obviously, we're all gamers, we're all streamers, content creators, things like that. So you don't really want to ask them, what color flowers should I get for my mom or something like that. Like, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to get as much engagement for that as opposed to, what game should I play tonight for stream? Who's getting so-and-so when it drops? Things like that. So ideally, your Twitter followers fit your general buyer persona, which means you should have a strong grasp on the content they like to consume, as well as their interest. You probably already use this information to create your social media strategy, so why not tie polls into that strategy too? So what that says, again, it just goes back to knowing your audience, knowing who you're talking to, and knowing what interests, what pops off on Twitter and what doesn't. It is Twitter. It's social media. We're here to have a good time. Don't be so serious. They're not meant for. You're not conducting mass market research. It's a fun piece. You get a little content up there. You get some answers from them. So you want to ask questions that your followers are going to answer or they're going to want to answer. You're not going to, again, goes back, like no one cares what color flowers you're getting for mom. They want to know, what game you're playing or maybe something going on in pop culture at the time, like really popular topic going on in the news, or maybe, some music or something like that. It all depends what your followers are doing. With the Twitter polls, just like any other tweet, and we'll go into it more in depth with hashtags, but you want to use polls as a part of your marketing efforts around an event or a launch, things like that. Don't forget to include hashtags. If those of you guys don't know what hashtags are, it's basically another means for your tweet to be found on Twitter. It's a clickable that they can click to and basically pulls up anything that anybody has. Yeah, it's the pound sign. Exactly. So let's do code EMGG. So we go here, we go to the latest tweets, and boom, this shows everything that anybody's tweeted with code EMGG. Apparently that's the popular hashtag that you guys use. How we use keywords for what the poll is about, or actually use the poll. So I would put it in like the question. So like when you whatever the question is, I don't think hashtags within the answer count. I don't think, because it won't be a clickable. Whatever your answers are on polls, you can't click anything within that.
Obviously, the timing of your tweets is extremely important. So you want to make sure that you're tweeting at times when you're going to get your content out in front of the most eyes. So for the majority of us, that is right around lunchtime from 12 to 1 p.m. But I will say that about 10 to 2 in general is a great time. And then similarly after people get out of work. So they kind of get home from work, they relax a little bit, they have some dinner. Between about 7 and 9 p.m. is also an ideal time to be using Twitter to kind of get important tweets out in front of people. Use these times also to retweet tweets from earlier in the day if you'd like, but you can also track this through the analytics pretty well. Kind of like it says in that little infographic, Saturdays and Sundays are hit or miss just because people wake up at different times. They don't have a set schedule. So take your chances there and even try different things and figure out what works best for the people that follow you.
And the timing is just a generalized thing. Again, it goes back to knowing your audience and when they're going to be most active. Obviously, if you have a lot more younger kids up there as opposed to like adults, then your time's going to be a little bit different.
So Firecats, if you're in school at lunchtime, you could always do the later time periods, or there are a lot of really good free websites and programs out there that you can time tweets out.
Buffer's probably my all-time favorite right now.
Yep, TweetDeck, Buffer. There are mobile apps as well. I try to retweet a tweet at the right time, but it's hard with everyone being all over the world, but I'm guessing retweeted later helps too. Yeah, absolutely. But also, it's just a matter of your followers. So if the majority of your followers are based around you, then it doesn't really matter. For you, I feel like a lot of your followers are based in the United States, though, so it is a little more difficult. But definitely use those peak times later to retweet. Would you just take into consideration time zones or trial and error and just base off analytics? I mean, I would do both. Definitely try and take your chances once in a while to see. Again, it's sort of based off of where your following is.
Hashtags. It is a clickable, like we talked about, so you don't want to do too much of it. But including at least one, but no more than 2 of them is going to be key. And number one, having your tweet found by a source outside of your following already, so it kind of helps you grow your internal circle from the outside. And statistically, it can actually increase your engagement rate of your tweet by 33%, which is insane. So if you were to get normally, let's just say, for example, normally you get 100 tweets, you get 133 or 100 likes, you get 133 likes or 133 retweets or whatever case it is that consists of that engagement rate. Images is huge. Tweets with embedded media do better in the algorithm. That means images, videos, GIFs, any of that. It's actually 150% increase in engagements. If you guys notice that I do tweet with videos or pictures a lot, and that's why. It comes down to people are like lazy. Generally speaking, people are lazy. They don't want to read. They want to look at a picture and let it do the work for them. So, for example, you guys see me always do these announcement videos and things like that. People like to watch that and just sit back and listen to what has to be said, as opposed to reading it. It sounds bad, and it sounds, somewhat, lazy or, condescending on people, but it is what it is. Like, most of the time people are on break at work and they're just scrolling through their phone. They don't want to sit there and read. They want to scroll, hit the play button, put on their headphones, listen to it, move on, so on and so forth. So definitely pictures, videos, GIFs, all that stuff. Use them. As you can see, we got a tweet here. This is when we did our Extra Life tweet. This is Tani's tweets when we did the Extra Life charity. You see we got her for Extra Life. We've got her link for EasternMediaGG, and we got our image. Could have done a hashtag, but you don't really need it here. Like we've got the information. So we tried to kind of get a little engagement out of tagging Extra Life for Kids, especially because it was their charity. We got our link, and we got our image. It's a solid. And then we'll go into it more, but we have our call to action here to have people come over and all that good stuff. So pop quiz, everyone in chat, and nothing against you, Tani. So don't be like, oh my god. But if you were to redo this tweet, what could you do to make it a little bit better? Based on everything that we've talked about. Switch the arrows for finger emojis. There we go. I like the thinking. Emojis. Okay. Yep. We got a little heart here, so that could have been a heart emoji. Post it at 12 instead of 11. That's when her time slot. That's when her time slot was coming up, though, I believe. So it's like it could have just been a rush thing. But yeah, definitely. Ask for a retweet. Yeah, you could have asked for a retweet. Mm-hmm. You know me. I am always like, real ones will retweet this, and honestly that's a good way. Like I don't do that just to like, I do that to kind of see, all right, who's really engaging with me, because I'm going to go back and I'm going to engage with what they say and what they do and try to help them out as well. I try to keep it very mutually good. Y'all appreciate it, Logics. Could add a video talking about the stream. So the thing with that, she has her image here. You can't attach an image and a video in the same tweet. But yeah, video could have been a little bit more engaging. I know this one in particular, we wanted to share our incentives and things like that, and it's written down. So I think the image was the smarter move for this one. But an alternative is definitely the video. I'm glad you guys have got this all kind of, you're tumbling this through your head and you're really thinking about it. That's what I want to hear. I like it. Would adding the second link for donating to the cause have helped or not? It could have, but then you kind of be trekking, because you'd be on your 3 clickables, and then you kind of confuse. Would you rather want someone going to the stream, or do you rather want them going to the donate link? You don't want them to really have to choose, right? So you're just going to send them to the link to the stream, and then from the stream, we're definitely going to funnel them into that donation link to try to, our mission is to try to raise money for a charity. Yeah, maybe donation link in the reply. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I like that. Great thinking. Absolutely.
Yeah, never be afraid to reply to your own tweet with something, because not only does it add more information, but when you reply to any tweet, it pulls it back up on the timeline.
Yep, on your timeline and on anybody else who has already reacted with that, has already replied to it. Do you think it would be beneficial adding like a good clip from a previous stream instead of an image to draw more attention? With this particular one, I don't think so. But with your stream in general, like if you're promoting your stream, like if it wasn't charity, yeah, absolutely. And Sweet Decay did an awesome article on utilizing Twitch clips to grow your Twitch grow your Twitch channel on Twitter. Mixer is kind of harder because you have to manually do the clips from VODs. Yes, very true. I know they are incorporating the whole VOD thing soon. They're working on that, or the whole clip thing. Sorry. Is posting more than 1 to 2 photos in a tweet a good or bad thing? I'd say good. They have to kind of correlate a little bit. Maybe different angles of something. I don't know if you're doing a selfie, if you're taking a picture of multiple things, like you just want different angles, different perspectives of things. I think that's really cool. All right, so So I'm going to read this, and then I'm going to kind of go into my words. And yeah. So when you're choosing a hashtag, it's important to make sure you pick something that people are searching for and can easily remember. There are lots of hashtags scattered in social media universe, and using a hashtag that's long and difficult to spell or pronounce probably honestly doesn't exist. It's probably going to do you absolutely no good. And it's probably not going to give you a good result. However, an unclear, never used, or generic hashtag will also not get the results that you want. So, for example, if you're showing off your shoes, right? Like, you might want to hashtag Nike as opposed to hashtagging shoes, right? The more specific you get, the more specific that crowd that's going to interact with that is going to be. Similarly, think about the hashtags people will search for and will be more likely to find you with. Trending hashtags, utilizing trending hashtags. So trending hashtags is a hashtag topic that's become very popular in a very short period of time. Maybe you've heard people are talking about what's trending now. Sometimes it's referring to hashtags that are currently popular or the most talked about. They are continuously changing according to the latest trend. Usually a lot to do with pop culture and things like that. What's going on. Obviously, celebrities have a huge say in what is trending. And you kind of want to lob in with those at an early time. Maybe a dumb question. Do you find engagement or visibility changes when you hashtag Nike versus when you at Nike? I don't think at and Nike will do anything, honestly, because they're not going to. It sounds bad, but they're not going to interact with it. The chances that they are is super low. Oftentimes, hashtags are centered on major news topics of the world. When you see a trend that relates to your business, engage it by using the tag. So if you guys see something that's particularly, and each and every one of you guys are a business, right? You stream, you create that business. You're paid by Twitch, so you want to treat yourself as such. So if there's a tag that comes in for video games, for Twitch, or not a tag, hashtag for video games, for Twitch, for Mixer, YouTube, whatever your respective platform is, use that trending hashtag in content update. You can get your message seen by a much larger audience. Hashtags did start on Twitter, but they are utilized on all social media platforms now, except for LinkedIn. But realistically, the networking opportunities on LinkedIn for just posting is pretty low. But it's Facebook, Instagram, they all have hashtags now, and it's the same principle. Hashtags give your brand more exposure so you can spread the word about your product to a massive audience. Again, you're a business. Your product is your stream. Your product is, maybe you have merch you're selling. Your product is, whatever you're trying to share with your quote-unquote consumers. In addition, when you use it on multiple times on different channels, people will easily remember your hashtag. So you want to make that hashtag much more memorable. That way people will search that and they'll be able to find all different aspects of your brand, whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, so on and so forth. You can use hashtag before the keyword in mind, and this way you'll find useful content. Again, it all ties into maintaining that process of being able to locate the most relevant information about you, and what the audience, what the consumer is going to be looking for. So before you use a hashtag, a good rule of thumb is to search the hashtag before you use it. Check each social media to make sure your hashtag isn't being used for the wrong reason. Ensure that you don't choose something that can be interpreted in a different way. And it's worth making sure that another brand isn't using your hashtag specifically for their own promotion. There are sites like Hashtagify can give you real insight as to what your hashtag will bring to the table. So let's go to Hashtagify, actually. So our hashtag we're going to do is code EMGG, right? So it's most used by Eastern Media, obviously. New profile pick. So a lot of people have been using new profile pick, Twitch, G Fuel, and Grind with the hashtag code EMGG. So it kind of tells you what's going on. So 88%'s been uppercase C, uppercase EMGG. 3%'s been all lowercase. 3%'s been lowercase code, capital EMGG. Vice versa, you can see that. 38%'s been English. 62%'s been another language. I think that's just because we type in slang and it doesn't register as English, but I'm pretty sure that's all English. But you can kind of get a little idea on like what's used with that. So not to disrupt the flow of the seminar, but I have a question. I'm sure since you built EMGG from the ground up, the answer for you is yes. But do you think without EMGG you'd be able to pull the same numbers you do now? I say you, but I mean you, Zim, Tani, anyone that has kind of blown up thanks to the community. Yes, I do. I started EMGG. I'll talk on me personally, and then I'll kind of I'll give you guys the rundown. So I started EMGG because I blew up so quick on Twitch, and I wanted to be able to help other people. Now, with that being said, all the stuff that I'm giving you, all this information, is not because is not it's business based. But again, you got to think of yourself as a content creator as a business, and the product that you're trying to sell, quote unquote, sell, is to get people to go to your stream, to check out your stream, maybe even follow, sub, chat, whatever the case may be. And of course, don't overuse hashtags. Again, it is a clickable. You don't want to use more than two. Make sure to use a maximum of 2 hashtags for each Twitter post, maximum. Including too many will leave the impression that you're just spamming your followers. It also, again, goes back to the chance of being shadow blocked on Twitter, because it does think that you're a spammy ad bot or something like that. Additionally, it's important to avoid using them in every single post that you make, as social media users are wary of businesses trying too hard to promote themselves. So as a marketer, you want to be able to reach your community with the use of a hashtag, especially during special events, Twitter chats, things like that. If you want others to join in on conversation, you need to engage with each other. You have to use a hashtag that's more unique. With that being said, you don't want to, when you tweet, you can't expect everyone to interact with you and you not interact with them. It's not a one-way road. From a algorithm standpoint, you're just not going to show up on each other's timeline unless you both talk to each other. And on the being a decent human being, like if you want something, you need to put forth a little bit of effort. And again, these are real people, right? So you don't just treat it like a number. You want to engage with you. These people are taking time out of their day to interact with your tweets. They could go on anybody's tweet. They could go and do anything, but they chose your tweet to interact with. They chose your tweet to like. They chose your tweet to retweet, and they might have chose your link to click. So cherish that. Let's see. I have 2 clickables to post, but then retweet it with a comment, or comment with 2 more clickables. Is that bad? No, that's okay. Zim, kind of weird question, but what is something you can do to build your social media confidence? I haven't really posted a lot in the past. Now I'm trying to engage on Twitter, but I don't want to be too intrusive and make unique posts. There's no short answer. Just do it. Just do it. It's social media. Like, what's the worst thing that can happen? It doesn't get interacted with? Whoop-de-doo. Then you either delete it or you develop your baseline of where you started on social media, and you're able to track how much bigger and better that you've gotten over the time. If you quote a tweet, would then retweeting the tweet as well mess with the algorithm? No, so it's going to count that as 2 separate tweets, actually, Ryan. But it's not gonna mess with your algorithm. But Tiny and I have always had a very large following, and it's because we've always studied what's going on within, with social media, with the analytics, with the algorithm. We probably pay a lot more attention and study a lot harder than I even want to admit when it comes to social media. And in turn, it's we've generated that kind of following to come to our streams, to come to vice versa. I guess there's a long stream. You could retweet like a couple hours later after your quote. Yeah, definitely.
I definitely suggest retweeting or putting another tweet out after about 2 hours.
You can also, fun fact, you can retweet your own tweets. So if you had a really good tweet and you're like, this is really going to be a good tweet. It's going to get some, a lot of people to interact with it, and it doesn't really pop off. It could have been the timing. It could have been something like, so the next day you can pick a new time, unretweet it, and re-retweet it. It's going to pop right back up on the top of your timeline and on everybody else's timeline as if it was the first time you ever tweeted it.
Videos and GIFs. Obviously, sort of like we talked about with images, videos and GIFs, rich tweets give you higher levels of engagement for your for images and videos. You can get about 150% increase in retweets just by including images or GIFs. And again, this kind of comes down to having something eye-catching in your tweets. So if you're scrolling through Twitter and you're sort of half there on your lunch break or like after work, whatever you're doing, and you see all these tweets that are just word-based, you're probably going to stop on the first one you see that has a picture in it or has a video in it. GIFs are a little less of an increase because they are a little bit more commonplace. I think it's about a 50% increase. Yeah, but it can definitely go a long way to take a photo or use a GIF or put a video into your tweet to get more engagement. And also, kind of like someone said, we talked about before, like using a stream clip and curating that content for your tweet. Putting a clip from a previous stream in a tweet, especially when you're going live tweets, gives someone really easy access to a sample of your content before they even have to click on your Twitch link.
I personally use GIFs to, if I'm feeling really lazy, but I want to reply to people. I know you see a lot of people that reply with just GIFs. It can be funny. Sometimes you can start little GIF wars and stuff like that. So
I definitely do photos more. Mixing up could help too. Yeah, I mean, like we kind of said, you want to have like a healthy balance of all of these items because someone going through um your Twitter, if they see almost the same selfie every tweet with a link to your Twitch, it just doesn't look very original. I do GIF replies pretty often. Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun way to sort of add something eye-catching to your tweet and just have a fun reply or to play around with your friends. Power words and CTA. CTA is a call to action. So power words have a high innate sense of engagement, and most are calls to action words like please retweet, help, follow, and how to are focused on the reader of the tweet rather than the sender of the tweet. Your followers are much more likely to interact if they are the focus on your tweet and you're clearly asking for an action. So this is sort of like having a conversation with someone. You're going to ask about them versus immediately just starting to tell them about you. So a good way to do this is to say like, oh, what is everyone playing tonight? Tweets like that get so much engagement because people want to tell you about themselves. We like to do that.
Yep.
Similarly, doing things like, and again, don't overdo it because if you do it every tweet, it looks lazy and it looks stupid. But if you have a big stream coming up, you have a charity stream, you have a 24-hour stream that you're doing for fun, saying things like, please retweet, or I could use your help. You'll see me do that a lot of times if I want advice for things. I'll be like, I need your help. These types of things catch people's attention, and it's sort of subconsciously, to be honest with you. If you were to @ people as a reply to the tweet, would the algorithm still mess you up? I believe so. Say you tagged 2 people in your tweet, your original tweet, and then you reply to that and you tag somebody else. I believe it does not technically. I mean, if you're kind of having a conversation with that many individual people, the algorithm doesn't matter as much for the most part. I got told years ago that hashtags don't work, and now look, they do. So the real thing about hashtags is that, especially, and Wolfie, you can probably attest to this because you knew me back then, like a year and a half or 2 years ago, when people are hashtagging, they were putting a wall of hashtags. Just an absolute, like, hashtagging everything they could think of. And for me personally, even if it wasn't in the Twitter algorithm back then, I just thought it looked unprofessional. I thought it looked stupid to have just all these hashtags at the end of your tweet.
So this is Twitter specific. Now, if you go on Instagram, you can have up to 30 hashtags, and I recommend you use all 30 of them.
Yeah, Instagram is a whole different game.
Yeah, if you're just starting to create your Instagram.
For those that don't know, can you guys bring up the broad line between a call to action and a follow for follow request? Well, obviously, if you say follow me and I follow you back, that's a follow for follow request. But a call to action is essentially asking someone for help or to get your content in front of their followers, like asking for a retweet and such.
It's just being upfront. It's saying exactly what you want. It's not like throwing something out there and hoping that it happens. It's just asking. Technically, asking for follow to follow could be a call to action, but it's not a good one.
With power words, if you overuse them in one tweet, is it more likely to put people off in your experience, like using please a lot or a lot of those words? But again, don't go with every single tweet saying retweet this, please retweet this, please follow my Twitch, please help, please help, please help, you know? Because it's almost like, might be sort of a silly analogy, but like the boy who cried wolf. Like you're putting this on every single thing, so how important could it actually be? Instagram looks insane with so many. I'm trying to get back into the hashtags and remember to use them. Yeah, I mean, it's everything about this is a learning experience, and it's especially Instagram. Instagram's a very interesting one that I'm still kind of delving my feet into. I think my point, I see a lot of people proclaim follow for follow as a call to action, and I know how it can dilute the message and confuse the two. Yeah, I just follow for follow doesn't do anything. So especially for like Twitch, it doesn't gain you anything to have. Well, realistically, it doesn't gain you anything to have more followers.
It looks worse, to be honest, because you're gonna have the same amount of viewers, which if you're doing a follow for follow is probably not a lot. No offense. and you're going to have the crazy amount of followers. That just looks bad.
Absolutely. Like, I would much rather have 20 followers and 10 of them come to every stream than have 500 followers and 5 of them coming to my streams. Or even 500 followers and 10 of them coming to the same streams, you know? I made the mistake of follow for follow when I just
A
started.
lot
Wish
of
I could
people
remove
do.
followers. Yeah.
A lot of people do.
Well, because it's
Humans
this is gonna
humans naturally are looking for the easy way,
yeah.
the quickest path.
It feels gratifying to see that number grow, but in the long run, it doesn't benefit you that much. In sales, we consider power words: value, investment, profit management, lifestyle, consequence. I love that this seminar is reminding me a bit of sales. I mean, realistically, sales and social media marketing and running your streams and producing content is very much, it's a business.
You're selling your stream. Absolutely.
Yep. Y'all say don't put ask for retweets on every tweet, but it is okay to do it every day on one tweet. Like, if I stream every day, should I ask for retweet every time I tweet that I'm live?
I wouldn't, not every time.
Yeah, Unity, I would not suggest that. Kind of like I said before, I save that for like special events or really important things that I want to try and really get out in front of more people. Hopefully, if you have a good following, or if you're working on a following, people will start to retweet your content because they want to support you. But if you ask for a retweet, especially every time that you live, that's obviously a pull to try and get that one specific tweet out, and people are just going to kind of start to ignore it. I thought, is this socializing? Hung out with all these folks. People didn't really do much, so I learned. Yeah. Glitchy Girl, I think we all kind of started there, to be honest with you.
So realistically, and that has a lot to do with the culture of Twitter. Like, back in the day, you used to be able to, back when auto DMs was a thing. I know it's disgusting now, but back in the day, that was a huge tool. I'd mass follow thousands of people with an auto DM, and they'd come to my stream. They'd interact with it, and then I'd continue the DM message. Nowadays, the culture is just not there anymore, and that's no longer a valid way to do it. So that's kind of more gauging in the fact that the Twitter and how the algorithm works and how people are utilizing Twitter is just always changing. So you constantly have to stay, updating your tactic.
Absolutely. How do I bring in new viewers that have never watched my stream or follow my Twitter? Unity, it comes down to finding a way to market yourself and get yourself in front of the right eyes. We kind of went through a lot of ways to get people to see your tweets a little bit more already. So even on our last slide, we talked about using videos and photos and GIFs as a way to catch people's eye.
I think the too long didn't read answer is utilizing your social media, your other social media platforms aside from Twitch. Having hashtags in your stream titles help.
Well, there's no way to really chase the hashtag on Twitch.
So, right, correct. But when someone shares your stream, it's going to have the title.
That's true.
If they share it so it's two answers for that. No, not on Twitch. But if they share that stream and it goes to their Twitter, then yes, that hashtag will go onto their Twitter.
Is it better to use hashtags or at certain things? So, Bruiser, that's a very good question, because what?
It all depends.
Yeah. So adding large companies won't do a whole lot for you. But doing something like, say, adding a smaller game developer whose game you're trying out or something like that, that can definitely get them to retweet it, get them to even... I remember when Dauntless was still in beta, I added Dauntless, and a couple other devs came by my stream when I streamed it that night. It was awesome. It was so cool. So doing something like that for a smaller company works really well, but I would definitely use hashtags for larger things. But it is also some trial and error. So you'll see, like, G Fuel is awesome, even so they're a huge company, about going through tweets, replying to tweets, retweeting things, and that's if you at them as a company.
Consistency is key.
So this kind of brings us back around asking for retweets. People are understandably shy about asking for retweets. In fact, less than 1% of brands have asked for a retweet, and this is a huge missed opportunity. When you clearly ask your followers for a retweet, you have a good chance of getting one. Salesforce reports that asking results in 12 times more retweets. So sort of like we talked about, don't overuse it. There's a reason why a lot of brands don't use it. But at the same point, if you do use it for important things, people will do you that favor. Also, things like asking for help and how-tos. It's just a great way to get people to focus on your tweet, interact with your tweet, if you are clearly asking for a specific action from them. And again, you're kind of almost shifting the focus to what they need to do to help you almost, Using links. 92% of all Twitter interaction, retweeting, replying, etc., happens when readers click links. In fact, tweets with links get 86% more retweets, according to research. So again, these clickables, be careful with them because you don't want to overuse them, but people are much more prone to click on something or interact with something if it catches their eye. And even just having that little color change in a tweet will catch somebody's eye over a plain text tweet. For us as content creators, your Twitch link, your Mixer link, your YouTube link is a huge way to use this and take advantage of this and get those interactions up, which is really what this is all about right now. Also, a fun fact that I kind of forgot about the retweet. If you use the word retweet versus just doing RT, like the shorthand for retweet, you are much more likely to have better engagement. Does it matter what time you stream? Because followers and potential viewers have different time zones. So if I want to stream at 2 a.m., should I not, just because at my time, most people are sleeping? No, because realistically, especially on Twitch, there are viewers all over the world who are looking for someone to watch. Yep. And you will build your community around your schedule. It doesn't matter what time you stream. And realistically, too, sometimes streaming later like that is a better chance because you might have less competition for whatever game you're playing. Realistically, it does not matter what time you stream. You can stream in the morning, you could be super successful. Stream in the afternoon, be super successful. Stream at dinner time, late night. Whenever you want to stream, you should stream. And
the only thing that's going to be affected is if you have a specific community or following that is on a particular time zone, then yeah, they're probably not going to be there, but the chances of other people from other time zones coming in is still up there.
I watch a lot of streamers first thing in the morning, and it's a lot of overseas streamers. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Some of the people that come to my streams all the time when I stream, or when I was streaming like late into the evening, I was going until 2 or 3 in the morning. They were from Europe. They were from like Belgium and England and stuff, and they were waking up as I was spending my last couple hours in stream. How many hours would you normally stream? So you can stream for as long as you like. I will say that we suggest you don't stream for less than 3 hours at a time, just because of some Twitch algorithm items.
Yeah, you don't even show up correctly in the directory until you hit 2.5, 3 hours. It's really weird. And you can kind of watch your stream like clockwork every time between that 2.5 and 3 hour mark. You'll just see an influx of just people that you've never seen in your stream before. So engage others. 4 is good if you don't want to burn yourself out. Yeah, I guess. It's all dependent on how the time constraints that you have, how you want to do your streaming, because everyone has a different plan and different goals with streaming. Realistically, my personal opinion, if you have the time and 4 hours burns you out, then streaming might not be for you. So engage others. If you want others to engage with your content, a good way to start is to always interact with theirs first. Respond, like, retweet, follow, whatever. When you respond to other users or engage with their content, they'll be more likely to pay attention to what you're posting too. And that's a lot to do with the Twitter algorithm. You're actually going to show up on their timeline more than if you don't talk to them. It's just the way it works. And I want you to try that. I want you to find someone on your timeline that you've never talked to before and reply to them, and they'll reply back because most people reply back. And then look on your news feed and watch how often they start to pop up there. It's very uncanny, and that's why we recommend you guys talking with amongst each other within EMGG so much, because you guys are going to pop up on each other's news feed a lot more and be able to help each other out and promote each other, and vice versa. This is especially true considering most brands don't take or have time to interact with a lot of followers, so it can mean more when you do. Goal is 7-hour streams 5 days a week. Oh, that's fat. I like it.
Girl going full-time over there.
Yep. It's like with Twitch Mixer also, you spend enough time getting to know someone that'll want to do the same. Yeah, absolutely. You don't nobody wants to feel like they're being used. You know what I mean? If you're putting off the aura that you just want them to help you and you don't want to do anything, then no one's going to be there for you.
Also, like, your time is very valuable, and so is someone else's. And so they're more likely to visit a stream where they know someone than to take a chance on a random stream where they might not even like the person or like the content, you know?
Does it hurt to not be able to have a set schedule? Absolutely. Having that set schedule is like when you were, not so much anymore because we don't watch TV, but when you were a kid, you knew what time in Garfield and Friends was on every morning and what day it was on, and you were there. Why? Because you knew that scheduled time. You knew it was going to be there. Your followers and your viewers do the same exact thing. They're going to know exactly when you stream at exactly what time, and they're going to be there, and they're going to be ready for it. And as you grow and as you get bigger and bigger, that's why there are no large streamers that don't have a schedule. That's how you develop that community, that specific following. It's kind of my downfall at shift rotation. I can never have the same schedule. Yeah, that's understandable. And you know, with all that being said, like you use what you got. Not everyone's going to be afforded the same opportunities, the same resources. So use what you got. Maybe it's not ideal. Maybe in the grand scheme of things, it's not the best way to do it. But if it's the best way for you to do it, what more can you do? There is no exact right way or wrong way. These are just tips to increase the percentage of or tip the scale in your favor. What is a good way to engage with a small stream? Normally, I don't pass one view at once. They're in the stream for a few minutes, but don't type in chat, watch for a while, and then they're gone. So how do I start the conversation? So a good rule of thumb with streaming, and this is going to sound really weird, but it's just the way it is. When you're streaming, whether there's nobody in your chat or whether there's 100 people, you want to talk and do the same exact thing that you would, the same exact way. Whether you're commentating what you're doing, your plays, whether you're literally just talking to yourself. That way, when that one viewer does pop in, they're going to be a lot more prone to try to interact with you, to remark on what you got to say. So if you can't have a set schedule, would you recommend smaller streams every day? No, because that goes back to the Twitch algorithm. You may not even end up showing rightfully on the directory.
I'll say if you can't have a set schedule, once you get your work schedule, try and put out a schedule like onto your social media to let people know when you will be live. So maybe you can't stream Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday at the same time every week. But if you throw out a tweet every Sunday being like, hey, this is my schedule for the week. I'll be on Monday at 7 o'clock and Wednesday at 11 p.m. and Thursday we're doing a noon stream. It at least gives people the time to kind of plan around and make sure that they're available to see you because they know when you will be live, you know?
Exactly. That's a really good alternative. Turn off viewer count. I don't know how many viewers I usually have. I mean, that's I don't really look at mine anyway, so that's a tactic that if you get anxious and looking at the viewer count, you shouldn't be worried about viewer count at all, but I know some people do. That is a tactic that can kind of help you out. So some last minute tips: keep your tweets concise, short, sweet, to the point. Tweet during daytime hours. Again, the hours that we talked about. Naturally, usually when people are first getting up for work, when they're at lunch, or when they're getting home from work. Tweet on weekdays. On the weekends, people aren't going to be. They're washing their car, they're running errands, they're sleeping in, for people that work full time, they're probably streaming on the weekend themselves, kind of just dedicating the whole day to themselves. Stay away from lifestyle tweets to a certain extent. Nobody really wants to know that you went and picked up groceries, as opposed to something that's going to be more relevant to your viewer base, since majority are gamers, content creators, things like that. And send 1 to 4 tweets a day. I think that's a minimum, because Tanya and I send way more than that. But that's probably a nice minimum. And that just goes back to consistency.
Ryan, I would say that does not include replies. I would say that's more for original tweets.
Yeah. Reply to as much relevant stuff as you can. Well, Castle, not to sound like a douchebag, but I've developed enough of a following and enough of a kind of understanding of what people interact with and stuff like that that like when I do stuff like that, like I'm just looking, just looking to chat with people.
Well, not only that, but it's like it's a persona, and it almost it makes you more human to people. So having tweets like that and like little things like I tweeted this morning that I hit my head in the wall when I tripped, like we're not all about we aren't just content bots. I'm not a retweet bot. Like you want to have some authenticity to who you are.
You want it to be morning, like when people are waking up. I'd say between 6 and 7. Do your little good morning tweet, include a picture, maybe motivational quote, whatever. I don't know. Lunchtime when people are on lunch from work, and then 4 or 5 when people are getting home from work, and then get ready for your nighttime tweets, which are like 8 to 9, and sometimes up to 11, depending on the day. What would y'all consider more valuable as someone who doesn't stream, just trying to gain Twitter followers, lots of random tweets that give you better chance for impression engagements, or less, maybe slightly higher quality tweets? So this is not directed towards streamers and content creators. This is all information that you can use, Castle. Is right now the worst time to tweet? No. No, it's not the worst time to tweet. It's a little bit later, but if you are in the West Coast, or the majority of your people are in the West Coast, then you're looking at like 8:30 right now. You're in prime time. If the majority of people are Eastern, it's going to be a little bit different. It's almost midnight. You could reach people in Australia, but that's if you have an Australian following. You're not gonna get people from Australia just seeing your tweets randomly. So I try to do a tweet in the morning, but I work graveyard and get home and crash, sleep all day, and start my stream as soon as I wake up. What would you recommend to be able to hit those not tweet times, scheduling your tweets? Yeah, Buffer is one of my favorites. Buffer is one of my favorites to use. It's a free to use. It's free to use. You can link your Facebook, your Instagram, and your Twitter all to it, and schedule your tweets and posts and vice versa. It's really good. We personally use it with EMGG to like have our foundation of tweets, and then of course we pepper in our own personal tweets or our own manual tweets throughout the day. I don't recommend Buffer being the only way that you tweet on the channel or on your account. So that's the end of the actual presentation. What are your thoughts on what belongs as your pinned tweet? A single piece you want to promote, a tweet with all your social media links? So me personally, I think a tweet with all your social media links is really good. Especially as streamers and content creators. I know if a tweet does really well, like if I get popping off like over, 3K, 4K likes, retweets, stuff like that, I'll usually pin it just because it's going to be seen more by more people. It really depends. But I think as streamers and content creators, you definitely want your social media links, especially your Twitch or Mixer. But it all comes down to preference and your audience. Care to comment, Tony?
No, I completely agree with that. I would say if you have, I kind of feel like I keep bringing these type things up, but like if you have an event coming up or a charity stream, that's a good thing to pin to get more attention to that immediately when people come to your page. But I would absolutely go with, as content creators and people trying to build our businesses, I would go with social media links.
As a smaller streamer, should I stick with one game and try to build my base from that game, or is variety okay? So variety's okay, but the chance to grow in one game is going to be much higher. Being a variety streamer is much more difficult than being a single game streamer. But for me personally, it's really hard to just stay with one game. Like I'm a gamer. I like to play games. And realistically, a lot of variety streamers have a base set of games that they play anyways on rotation, and then they pepper in, other random stuff.
Yeah, it can be hard to do variety, but that's where you build your community around essentially your personality versus a certain game.
Yep.
So they come because they enjoy talking with you. They enjoy your rage. They enjoy how you react to certain things versus they have a lot of respect for your gameplay almost, or you're really good at one game.
Absolutely. What can happen if you have only one viewer? What do you mean? Everybody always has one viewer at one point in time. You just play the game and you have fun. So normally I play Apex and I tweet clips, but I feel like it's only the same people see the tweet. So how do I get it seen by more people in that community instead of just the same people? Everything we talked about today. You also don't want that to be the only thing that you're tweeting is clips. because people see that and they want to see more interaction with things. Boosting your tweet. Are you talking about promoting it, like paying to boost it? I've personally never dealt with any kind of paid promotion on Twitter. I'm pretty sure it's not worth it. I don't. Have you ever used paid promotion?
I haven't, and I've never even looked into it, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Our support chat's a good move. What's a support chat?
Like a support for support, like a lurk group.
$100 for one tweet?
Oh, that's absurd.
I mean, I guess if you're like a multi-million-dollar business, like that's like chump change in the grand scheme of things. That's what it's for. But
But for us daily people.
yeah, realistically, like the average streamer makes about the average scheduled, like doing decent streamers probably making between $100 and $200. Like you're looking at half, if not your whole Twitch paycheck. So from a standpoint of a profit margin of what you're making, you're investing $100 into something and you're not seeing, any kind of return. Like I'm in 2 chats full of Apex players and we just link clips and anything related to the game for the rest of the chat to see. I wouldn't interact with that, but that's just me. I guess if they're willfully in the chat and they know that that's what they're there for, if you're seeing interaction from it, then yeah, that kind of goes back to the old Twitter decks. I don't know if you guys remember decks. That was really popular, but no, I don't recommend promoting tweets or posts unless you have that kind of disposable income. I don't know. I personally never used it. I don't know what it results in. I don't know how good it is. I guess I can't really comment. Me personally, I wouldn't. I know most people quit their jobs to be a full-time streamer. Wouldn't this be a problem money-wise? So I wouldn't quit my job until I knew for sure that I was making enough sub revenue to pay my bills. To me, a full-time streamer is not throwing tweets like playing the lottery, I imagine. Full-time streamer, you're not a full-time streamer until you can pay your bills. Like it has nothing to do with how many hours a week that you stream. It has nothing to do with anything else like that. Like if you can pay your bills, and that's all, that's which realistically is it's pretty difficult. It's always the goal. It's always the goal, though. They get overzealous, dude. People will get like 100 gifted subs one month and think that they're about to like pop off, and they quit their job, and then the subs run out and they don't get gifted anymore. Like, I don't know, man. And of course, there's other people have other income. I mean, if you have other income, like it's all case by case, Love my job, even for each top tier streamer, I'd keep my job and just use extra money to give back to those who support me. There you go. That's dope. And again, it goes back to case by case basis. Not everybody loves their job. Most people don't love their job. I really hope this helped out people. I really do. So guys, I personally really appreciate you guys coming out here, hanging out, asking questions. I really hope we helped out. I really hope this helps you out a lot. I hope you guys are going to start watching your analytics a lot more. Feel free to reach out on Twitter. So we'll both kind of be trying to interact and make sure anyone has any questions that we help answer those. So yeah, that's all I got. Tani?
No, I don't. I don't really have anything else to add, I don't think, unless you guys had any more questions.
All right, guys. Appreciate you so much for being here. Outside of that, guys, have a great night. And we will talk to you guys on Twitter and in Discord. Peace.
Bye, guys.